In 1965 in Ecuador, ethnologist Duan Moritz, with the help of local Indians, discovered a huge underground labyrinth called Los Teos and an ancient library that contained thousands of books made of thin metal plates covered with strange symbols. Moritz wrote, "These plates probably set out the history of vanished civilizations, of which to date we have not the slightest idea." Moritz invited the Swiss researcher Erich von Däniken, author of the famous movie Memories of the Future, so that he could personally examine the findings. According to Däniken, this library was left to Earthlings as a gift from alien intelligent beings. However, his soon-to-be-released book, The Gold of the Gods, was declared a scientific hoax. Däniken still managed to establish the exact coordinates of the cave, which he calls in the movie. Argentine entrepreneur, ethnologist, and collector of mysterious facts, Janusz Duan Moritz discovered an extensive system of underground communications of inconceivable antiquity, and 4 years later made this discovery public. Books made of metal. According to the original researcher, this giant branching of underground roads and tunnels stretched for thousands of kilometers, passing, in addition to Argentina, also under the territory of Peru and Ecuador. The walls of the tunnels were smooth and polished, and the ceilings were flat and smooth, as if covered with glaze. Passageways led to vast underground halls. In one of the galleries, Moritz allegedly discovered 20-kilogram books made of thin metal plates measuring 96 x 48 centimeters. In scholarly circles, these plates were called plaquettes. The most amazing thing is that on each such page were stamped or engraved mysterious signs. Duan Moritz and his fellow researchers, such as Stanley Hall, Petronio Jaramillo, and the world-famous Erich von Däniken, tend to assume that this is a library of a vanished ancient civilization. In the center of the library are set objects that resemble a table and chairs around it, but the material of which they are made is unknown to anyone. It is not stone, wood, or metal, but most likely something similar to ceramics or modern composites. Such composites, which are particularly resistant to high temperatures and have great strength, are used, for example, in aviation and astronautics. But could anyone really make their analogues many thousands of years ago? What surprised the scientists in this library? On the floors of the tunnels were found many interesting drawings. One of them shows a man floating above the planet. It turns out that long before the current era of astronautics, people knew about the spherical shape of the Earth. Another floor figure has a rectangular body and a round head. This strange creature stands on a globe ball and holds the moon and the sun in its hands. A figure called a clown or pilot has also been found. On his head is a helmet with headphones, and on his hands are gloves. A ring and wires are attached to this suit, which resembles a spacesuit. Among the amazing finds of Duan Moritz is something very similar to the model of supersonic passenger airliner Concorde, made of gold. One such figurine was sent to the museum in the Colombian capital Bogota, and the other remained underground. Aviation experts who have studied the museum exhibit tend to believe that this is indeed a model of the aircraft. Its geometrically correct wings and high vertical keel are striking. Birds do not have such things. The figurine of the airplane is made of pure gold, which is also quite mysterious. After all, in nature as such pure gold is not found. Native gold is a natural solid solution of silver with a mass fraction of up to 43% in gold and contains impurities of copper, iron, and other metals. Nowadays, pure gold is obtained by means of special processing at modern enterprises and equipment. How was such technology known to representatives of ancient civilization? But one of the potentially most sensational discoveries of the XX century soon faded. After all, in an interview with German publications Stern and Spiegel, Janusz Duan Moritz suddenly began to deny that he had ever been in the caves with Erich von Däniken. This undetermined confidence in the Swiss, who began to suspect that he simply fabricated his incredible facts that prove the presence of gods on our planet, ancient astronauts. Although it was easy to understand, if von Daniken really deliberately lied, he would not have left any coordinates for readers to contact Juan Moritz. Janusz Juan Moritz died in 1991. He always understated something about the mysterious dungeons. Therefore, like-minded people continued the search, each in his own way trying to contribute to it. The third man. All the threads of this story revolve around Juan Moritz, but he was not the starting point. In a 1973 interview with Spiegel magazine, Moritz confirmed that an unnamed man had shown him the cave. But who was this man? After Moritz's death, his supporter Stanley Hall decided to find out about the third man who was lurking in the shadows. Hall got a name, Lucio Petronio Jaramillo Abarca, but nothing more. Moritz died in February 1991, Hall said. I had the name and the phone book, but there were a great many people with the last name Jaramillo living in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. Finally I found him, or rather his mother. It was September 1991 when she gave me her son's phone number. I called him. The 1976 expedition could have ended up being the discovery of the century. A bend in the Pastaza River. The cave's estimated coordinates are 77°4734 west longitude and 1°5600 south latitude. And today Hall's greatest wish, if he could turn back time, would be to sit at the same table with Moritz and Jaramillo. At the same time, he realized that Moritz had been obsessed from the beginning with the idea of making the metal library his legacy. When Hall showed Moritz the record regarding the 1976 expedition, Moritz adamantly refused to return it. This ended their friendship, but Hall did not understand the reason for the rift until 1991, when he realized that Jaramillo's name was mentioned in that project. It was a name Moritz in no way wanted to publicize, as evidenced by his 1973 interview. Moritz was incredibly stubborn and at the same time incredibly loyal, but he was obviously mistaken in thinking that he could single-handedly become the discoverer of the century. Jaramillo had entered the system at least one other time. Back then, he had seen a library of thousands of large metal books arranged in compartments on shelves. Each book weighed approximately 20 pounds on average, each page mottled with drawings, geometric shapes, and writings. There was a second library, consisting of small, smooth, transparent, seemingly crystalline tablets whose surface was crisscrossed by parallel channels. These tablets also stood on shelves covered with gold leaf. There were zoomorphic and human statues, some standing on heavy pedestals, metal strips of various shapes, sealing doors, possibly tombs, covered with colored semi-precious stones. A large sarcophagus, sculpted from a hard, transparent material, contained the skeleton of a large man in gold leaf. Simply put, this incredible treasure had been stored there for an unknown number of years, as if hidden away in preparation for some impending calamity. And so, while Hall was organizing a new expedition, in 1995, a war broke out between Peru and Ecuador, which forced a postponement of the trek. And in 1998, Jaramillo was murdered, taking with him the secret of the library's whereabouts. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the Mystery Universe channel for more intriguing content about mysteries, conspiracies, and the unexplained. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be the first to know when we upload a new video.